everybody. Welcome. We're here for my Tuesday, Thursday abnormal psych class, and I feel like I haven't seen any of you in such an incredibly long time. So I'm very grateful that we get to touch base today. I have so many things I want to tell you about and just kind of check in with all of you. But thank you for all of you who are here and logging in and joining me here online. Make sure that you get your name in the chat somewhere, unless you're subscribed, and then you don't have to worry about that. I kind of feel like we've gone back in time here. It feels like it's back to like February or early March, right, where everything was virtual. But good morning. I feel like it's been a while. I didn't see you this week because we had Multicultural Day, and then I didn't see you last week. So I have been just absolutely violently sick. So just a quick update. So I had a fantastic cruise. My cruise was amazing, and I gained a very respectable 5 pounds, and it was a lot of fun, and I felt great the entire time. But when I came home, I just have been really, really sick, and I had a trip to the emergency room last week, which wasn't very fun. I went at like 3 in the morning. I had a really violent reaction to cough medicine. Of all things, I had a cough medicine interacted with like another medication that I take, and it gave me a violent, almost deadly reaction. And I found myself in the emergency room with a blood pressure of like 176 over 130. So I'm really sorry for all of the interruptions to our class. I am feeling much better this week than I was last week. So I'm really hoping that on Tuesday we are back to normal and we have our class and we can finish the semester out strong. So again, I'm very, very sorry for the interruption, and hopefully that's it. And by Tuesday, we will be good. So I got permission from my dean to have this week be virtual. And then hopefully, like I said, next week we'll be back on track. I don't think I showed you, right? I took a picture right when I got on the cruise, and I don't think I showed this class, but I found the cake right away on the cruise ship. And if I showed you this already, I'm sorry. My brain hasn't been with me this week. But on the cruise ship, like I said, I gained a solid 5 pounds. I hadn't been on the ship for more than like 10 minutes, and I already found the cake bar. So I took a picture as proof. The sad thing is like I wore my mask the entire time I was on the cruise ship, and my family did not. And yet somehow I was the only one who managed to get sick. I don't think that's fair, but oh well, I guess it is what it is. But anyway, what I want to do today is I just want to check in with you. I gave you a couple of kind of alternate assignments for this week, and then I want to go over our final paper, which is due next week, so that you have all of that information and you feel as good about it as you can and can get going on that over the weekend. So that's my plan for today. It will probably be about a half hour or so. And then again, I'm hoping on Tuesday that we're back to normal and everything is good. So I hope all of you are doing well. I miss seeing all of you, and I will see you on Tuesday. But let's go ahead and go over to Canvas, and we can take a few minutes to do those things that I just mentioned. So if we scroll down here, I posted a couple of things on the announcements. So let's go there first. I sent out an announcement on Tuesday. Remember that Tuesday was Multicultural Day. Make sure that you're getting my announcements. This semester it's obviously been really important, but this last week with me being sick, make sure that you're getting my messages. A few of you were confused about Tuesday, and we had talked about it in class, and I had definitely mentioned it as well last week. But make sure that you're getting these. I also sent out a message that the rest of this week had been virtual. And so I gave you a couple of assignments for this week, just so that we don't fall behind. And by the time that we meet again next week, we'll still be on track to finish in the right amount of timing and everything, as long as I don't go backward. But what I asked you to do is make sure that you read chapter 13 in the textbook on personality disorders. And this chapter should be really, really helpful for a lot of you. A lot of you have characters that you suspect have a personality disorder. And so hopefully by reading the chapter and then watching the lecture video that I have for you, that will be really helpful for that paper. So read the chapter in the book, watch the lecture video that I posted, and this is from last semester. but I was healthy then and strong, so it'll be good. But it's about 50 something minutes. I think it's 53 minutes long. And I go through all of the topics for chapter 13 with some video examples. So you'll definitely want to make sure that you're taking notes and paying attention and following along. I also gave you a participation homework assignment. So make sure that you click on this little link here and complete this before Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. And Sunday is Easter, so if you celebrate Easter and you know you're going to be busy, maybe try and plan ahead. Hello. Hello to you as well. And so make sure you click on this little link here. It's going to take you to an assignment that I made where you are pretending that you are attending a party where every single person there has a personality disorder. And I think this would be like the funnest, most interesting party in the world to attend. So you get to pretend that you're going to it, that you are a fly on the wall at the party. And so what you're going to do is you're going to read this little personality story. If you click on this here, it'll open it up for you. And I didn't create this, but I definitely modified it a little bit. It worked fine yesterday, so I'm not sure. Canvas had a big update, and so did the campus website. So a lot of you have already submitted this, so I'm assuming that it's something on my end, but I will double check it when we're done today. But you're going to read through this little story, and hopefully it'll open up here. Yeah, see, there we go. I just needed to click it again. So you're going to read this little story, and there's a couple of people in here: Donna, William, Sherry, Winston, Peter, Doreen, Harold, and John. And so what you'll do is you'll read each one of these little descriptions, and then you're going to match those people who are listed right here to the different personality disorders that we've covered in this unit. Now, there are 10 personality disorders, and there are only 8 people, so not all of them are used, and there's definitely no overlap. So make sure each one has a different disorder, and you're going to tell me which disorder they have and explain why you chose that one. And this will be a really great way to check your understanding and apply the knowledge from this chapter. And I think it's a kind of a fun thing to imagine going to. So when you're ready to do this and you're ready to submit it, just like you've submitted other things to me, this will open up here at 9 o'clock. So let me get out of this. But when you're ready to do this, there'll be a little start assignment up here at the top. Here, I could just open it for you now so I can show you that. I set it for 9, but we can open it right now. Let's say 8 o'clock. Ultimate power, right? I can open it whenever I want to. So let's just set that, and then I can show you. So if you were opening this assignment to complete it, you would click on the Start Assignment button up here, and that will allow you to either type it in a text entry. You can just type your responses directly here, or you could upload a file. So this is due by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. So make sure you do that. Again, all of this is in the announcement that I sent out for today. So if you click on that announcement right here, virtual class, class Thursday will be virtual. Here you can see the chapter 13, the lecture, and the participation. So make sure that you're doing all of those things. The only other thing that I wanted to spend some time on, and I'll spend the last like 20 plus minutes or so here, is your final paper is due next week. And I want to spend some time talking about that because it's worth 100 points, the same amount as an exam. And so if you haven't started on it yet, now would be a really good time to get going on that paper. So if you click on modules, you can scroll all the way down to the bottom where I have all of the assignments and participations and such. And if you click right here, you can see Diagnosis Paper Part 3, due on April 21st, worth 100 points. So if we open this up, you can see all of the instructions. And I just want to go through them and see if you have any questions and so on. So if you think of any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. But again, worth 100 points, due by next Thursday at 11:59 p.m. So I'll remind you one more time in class on Tuesday. And you'll be uploading a file by clicking right here. But if you look at the instructions, this final paper should be 5 to 6 pages, not including the title page or the references page. So what I'm expecting is that it has 5 or 6 pages of content, and then you'll also have a title page in APA style, and you'll have a references page in APA style. So altogether, it should be like 7 to 8 pages in length. You can always go over I will never take off points for your paper being too long, but it should definitely not be shorter than that. In your paper, you will want to cover the following things, and I'll show you more examples and such of this in a moment. But you'll want to give me a brief introduction or a summary of your show. You're going to give me a description of your character that you will be analyzing. So if you were to paint a picture for me of your character in like a paragraph or two, what are they like? Tell me about them. What are their demographics, their background, their personality? Are they in a relationship? Do they have children? Give me a little bit of a picture of your character as if you were describing them to another person. The main part of your paper is going to be these next two bullets. You are going to diagnose your character, right? So you're going to be picking one or two disorders at the most, and then covering all of the diagnostic criteria for that diagnosis. So just like I write on the board with a lot of disorders, what are all of the criteria that somebody would have to meet in order to be diagnosed with this? And then you're going to provide specific examples and evidence from your show to support your diagnosis. And I've seen people do this in a variety of ways, but the most successful tends to be like one paragraph for each criteria, and then you give an example to support. And then the next paragraph might be another symptom criteria with examples to support. So this is really the biggest part of your paper. It's worth a lot of points. So make sure that you cover every single diagnostic criteria with examples to support it. Somebody said, I looked at the example and the summary was long. Your summary should be probably just a couple of paragraphs at the most, like a page, maybe just a little bit over. The summary is not the focus of your paper. So it's just enough to give me like a little bit of a background and describe what happens in your show or in your movie. And then your character description should be another paragraph or so. The biggest part of your paper is this next part, right? Again, that diagnosis with examples to support it. And then you're also covering causes or contributors and treatment options. And if your show doesn't give you enough information to think about causes, you can speculate a little bit. But tell me, what are some of the things that you think has maybe led to that disorder? Think about those case studies that we did in class, right? What were some of the contributors to that eating disorder or to the use of ecstasy that we talked about in those case studies? And then what are some ideas for treatment? And maybe your character doesn't make it through the show, right? They don't survive in the show. What are some of the things you could have done if you had had the chance to intervene? Or if you don't like the options that they did do, what are some of the things that we could do instead? And so, again, you have a little bit of license to be speculative or creative with this, but think about what are some causes and treatments. And then you're probably going to want some closing remarks, right? What are some, kind of wrapping up thoughts? Maybe you have thoughts about other disorders that might have fit but weren't quite right. You could talk about that a little bit as well. Finally, excuse me, there is an APA piece to this, and I'll show you the rubric in a moment, but 10 points of your 100 points have to do with your APA style that you're using. And so you should have a title page in APA style, a references page in APA style, and at least a couple of in-text citations. And I'm going to show you where you can find information to help you with all of that. And so a title page is going to give me a very specific format, and again, I'll show you that in a moment. A references page is where you're going to be showing me what are the different references you used. Remember, you have to have one academic source, and then your show. You can have more than that, but at least one. And then if you got your, criteria from somewhere or thoughts about causes and treatment from somewhere, you need to make sure you're citing that to avoid plagiarism. And so you will hopefully have at least a couple of in-text citations. So if you scroll all the way down at the bottom here, you can see my rubric for when I'm grading this. And I think this is a really great way for you to see in a very transparent way what it is your points are coming from. And so when I open your final paper next week, the very first thing that I'm going to do is look at APA style formatting. If you don't have a title page, if you don't have a references page, if you don't have in-text citations, you're going to lose those 10 points, right? So really important to have a title page, really important to have a references page. If your references page says works cited or bibliography, I'm going to know right off the bat that you didn't even attempt APA style. So again, I'll show you these resources in a few moments, but that's 10 points of your paper. Covering all of the diagnostic criteria, those symptoms required for a diagnosis, is going to be worth 40 points. This is really the biggest part of your paper. So again, make sure that you're covering all of those criteria, going into detail, giving me examples to support. Covering the causes is worth up to 10 points. Treatment up to worth 10 points, worth up to 10 points. Your show summary is only worth 5 points. Again, this isn't the focus of your paper, so keep that kind of on the brief side, a couple of paragraphs at the most. Your character description is worth up to 10 points, painting that picture of your character. The overall flow and organization of your paper, 5 points. And then your academic sources and your show citation up to 10 points. So make sure that you do have all of that in your paper. You can see again here how I'm going to be grading that, where everything is coming from. All of the requirements are right here. Again, it's welcome to be longer, but don't have it be shorter than this. Otherwise, you definitely won't have been able to get into everything in a good amount of detail. So a couple of other things that will be really helpful for you with this paper. And again, if you have questions, feel free to throw them in the chat and I'll answer them for you. If you go to modules, here you can see, here's the paper instructions. And underneath it, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sample papers. And these are papers that got A's. And I think they're going to be really helpful for you. So if you're sitting there wondering, like, I don't know how to organize this paper, I'm a little confused how to put it together, look through these sample papers. It's going to be really helpful for you. Maybe it'll give you a good idea of how to kind of approach things. So let's open the Cinderella one, for example. And these papers, again, are all really strong. They're ones that earned an A because they did a really good job, or they were really creative. They followed all those instructions. Notice here that this person has a title page, right? It has the number up here at the top, the title in bold, and then this information. And then they give me a little bit of like a summary, right? And then they describe Cinderella's character, right? So Cinderella giving me a little bit of a description, a young woman in her late teens, early 20s, lives with her family, right? Kind of describing her character a little bit. And then they go into diagnosing, describing her with schizoaffective disorder, going over each of the criteria, the symptoms that they have to have, giving me examples to support. So that's the bulk of this paper, like still going with all of that, still covering the symptoms, right? And then we look at some causes, some treatments for her. And this paper, look, it's a little bit longer. It's about 9 pages. And here's their references page. So this is a really great example of how they went through and covered all of that. You could also look at a different one. So let's say you want to look at Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. Here's another great example. So this person, again, we have a title page that's formatted properly, and then you can look and see how they formatted their paper. So these are going to be really helpful resources for you, especially if you're like, I'm not sure how to organize this paper. Underneath that, I have a couple of handouts and links that might also be really helpful for you. So if you're sitting there going like, I have no idea how to do APA style formatting, remember a few weeks ago I had you watch that library presentation video. It's still there for you if you'd like to go back and watch the APA and Writing Center video that was presented. It might be helpful. I also have their PowerPoint presentation and a handout. And this little handout right here is incredibly helpful. Let's look at it together just for a minute. And so what this handout will do is give you all the APA style basics. And I'm not asking for you to do all of this perfectly, but I do want the title page to be following this format. And if you scroll down just a little bit, it tells you right here how to format your title page. Here are the things that you need to do. And then they show you what one would look like. And so this document, I've worked with the Writing Center. They've created it for our class. Will be really, really helpful for you. This is what a title page looks like. Here's how you format it. They're going to give you a little bit more about headings. You don't have to use headings, but I think they could be really helpful, right? Like you could have a heading that says summary. You could have a heading that says character description. You could have one that says diagnostic criteria, causes, and treatments. Make it really ridiculously easy for me to find these components in your paper. They show you how to cite things in the text. And then they also show you how to do a references page. So at the very bottom here, here's what a reference page would look like. This document is really, really helpful. So make sure if you're struggling with APA formatting that you take a look at this. There's also the PowerPoint presentation from the Writing Center. There's some library resources right here, which could also be helpful. A link to the DSM online, a link to citation information and APA style tutorials. So all of these things together should be really, really helpful for you in formatting your paper, looking at sample papers. Again, remember, this is worth 100 points, so you really want to spend some time on this. As a side note, I'll throw this out there. If you would like me to take a look at your paper, if you have it done, let's say by Tuesday night next week, I would be happy to look at it. If you want to email it to me, I can read it over really quickly, let you know if you've missed anything or you should add or remove anything. Happy to do that to help you out as long as you send it to me by like Tuesday night next week. So again, big things for right now. Start working on your final paper because it is due next week by Thursday night. Make sure you read chapter 13 and do the lecture for chapter 13. And then also that participation number 5. Are there any questions or anything for me? Any questions about the paper, about the participation, about any of that kind of stuff? You want to see my cake picture again? I missed the cake. The desserts on the cruise ship were so amazing. There were soft serve machines everywhere. The drinks on the ship were fantastic. You know, the non-alcoholic ones, of course, I mean. Again, it was a absolutely amazing week. It just resulted in me getting quite sick, unfortunately. But while I'm waiting for you to see if you have any questions, I do have a couple of quick things for you. If you could all do me a big favor, we haven't been meeting on Twitch, so a lot of you have had your subscriptions expire. It saves me so much work, and with not feeling great, anything that I can do to make things a little easier is fantastic. So if you have a minute, could you go and renew your subscription for free? It should only take you a moment to do that. Eva, Ariana, there's a few of you who just have the little crown next to your name. But if you have a moment to go onto Twitch and do that, then I don't have to match your name to your ID, which I haven't been doing in weeks. It would save me a lot of time, so I would really appreciate it. If you're on Twitch, just to renew it really, really quickly, I'll show you very, very quickly here. If I can go to Twitch. So I have to show you on someone else's channel. So I'll show you on like a football channel that I watched during the football season here. Melee. Look at, they're already talking about sports. But if you are on this, let me just move this so you can see it a little better here. There we go. If you're on my Twitch channel, so pretend this is me, underneath the like main screen bar, there's this purple box. And if you click on the purple box, there's this little down arrow right here. And if you click on that all the way at the bottom, see how it says use Prime sub? And you just click on that box and then click subscribe for free with Prime. Now remember, this was only good for 30 days. So if that expired, if you could just take a moment to do that, I would really appreciate it. Then I don't have to go through all of that work. And if you're watching this as a recording later, it will show me that you watched it this week. And I can still count you as having attendance for this week. So especially if you're watching this as a recording, that would be really helpful as well. So thank you for those of you who take a moment to do that. I really appreciate it. You could do it now or later, whatever is easy. And then, as I said, we will plan to meet on Tuesday. And so I'm hoping I'm 100%. I'm so much better. I couldn't even get out of bed a few days ago. And so I'm definitely close. But thank you again for your patience and understanding. I'm sorry again for the interruption. And I will hope to see you all and finish strong with our last few weeks starting on Tuesday. So I'll hang out for a few minutes. If you have any questions for me, make sure you get your name in the chat or you go and do that subscription so I have your attendance. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. If you celebrate Easter, have a wonderful Easter. I plan to eat way too many Cadbury eggs and those little Hershey eggs. Those are my favorite. I plan to eat way too much candy over the weekend. And I hope you have plans to do something fun for yourself as well. So I'm going to close up my video here in a moment, but I'll hang out for a little while. If you have any questions at all about the paper or this week, I will be here. Thank you so much for the well wishes. Thank you. That's very sweet of both of you. It was pretty scary. Like I said, I was very close to like a seizure from that medication reaction. It's just Delcium cough syrup, but I had a really violent like reaction to it, which is just crazy. So anyway, again, oh, look, one of you figured it out. Thank you for doing that. But again, I'm going to minimize my video. Have a wonderful week, and I will hang out for a few minutes here if you do have any questions for me at all. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I will, of course, post a recording of this in a little bit here. When we're done, I will do the upload and download and post a recording in case you missed part of this or in case you couldn't make it and you're watching it later.